Now, I think I mentioned in my Need for Speed video that there's only ever been a couple of racing games which I've ever really liked. I know there's some good ones. There's some great ones like Gran Turismo. There's, I don't know, Driver's pretty good apparently. What I mean is the only real games which I've properly enjoyed have been Need for Speed Underground, Ridge Racer Type 4, and Wipeout Fusion. Now, Wipeout Fusion here, I'm going to show you a bit of arcade gameplay just to start off with. It's basically just a racing game with really high speed ships, and Wipeout Fusion is the one which was the PS2 installation of the game, although I think it's probably still going. I'm pretty sure it's developed within Sony, or maybe it's like some weird partnership with Sony, but the point is they have this kind of deal going with Sony whereby Wipeout will be one of the first games released on any console. They actually released one of the games, I think it was Wipeout Pure or Wipeout Rage or Wipeout Ecstasy or whatever it's called. The PS3 one that got released as a free download for some particular period, which is pretty cool. But this particular one is pretty old, so the graphics aren't that great, but that being said, it is still a great game. I go back to it every so often and just have a little race. As you can see, the amount of speed in this game is ridiculous. Like, I said that Need for Speed Underground was a fast game in terms of just how it feels with kind of the lights rushing past you, your actual ability to control it, but this game takes it to a whole new level. I'll show you a game mode later on which is even more ridiculous. Look at this! My speed goes up to like, what is that? 2,000 kilometers an hour or something ridiculous. Who builds these tracks, really? Now the great thing about Wipeout is, it is just a ship racing game at heart, but there's also a big focus on the weaponry as well. Now similar to kind of kart racer games, you'll drive along and there'll be these little pads on the floor. As you drive over it, you pick up a weapon. I think it's random, maybe depending on what color it is at the time, but you run over it, you pick up your weapon, and Wipeout Fusion, yeah, it's got some pretty cool weapons. You've got the ever useful shield here, you've got stuff like, Plasma Bolt, which is like an instant kill on anything. And really, if you can use the weapons well, that's part of the way you're winning, really, because you'll slow down people, you'll, standard kart racer type stuff, slow them down, but you can also try and eliminate them from the race. Each ship has their own HP meter, and when you get down to 0, obviously they're out of the race. Now the cool thing is, when you play the sort of story mode, if you like, which is like AG League or AQ League, it's a weird font. Whatever kind of league that is, you play it, and where you go through the different levels and you're earning points for like first place, second place, third place, you'll get bonus points when you eliminate players, so that's pretty cool. Now speaking of eliminating players, this is one of my favourite challenges in the game. Now there is a challenge mode whereby you can do all these sort of, not necessarily, oh you have to win this race, get first, whatever. In this particular one, you've got to eliminate as many people as you possibly can. Go for a Plasma Bolt, just about miss that guy, which is a shame, because I think that's the most fragile ship in the game. I forgot to mention, the way this game works is, you have these sort of different teams competing against each other. This one is called, it showed it earlier on, just before I was choosing. It's the big, fat, kind of bulky ship. This is the kind of one you want in a challenge like this. It's slow, but it can do some good damage with weaponry, and it can definitely take hits well. There's also other ships, like my particular favourite was in the first race I showed you. I think it's called Zeos, or Geos, however you pronounce it, not really sure. But essentially that's like an all-round, speedy, good handling kind of ship. And it looks badass, you gotta say. As you upgrade them, when you get kind of cash or experience points or whatever they call it in this game for winning races, you'll actually be able to level up your ship, give it more speed, give it more handling, whatever, and that will also improve the appearance, which is pretty cool. Now, I think in a sec, you see my health meter's gone down to 7 points. You gotta be pretty damn careful on a challenge like this. Gotta be careful not to scrape the sides, not to bash into other ships, because that'll, diminish your health as well. The cool thing is that in regular races, not in this one, but in regular races you'll have this sort of red sort of pit stop area to the side of the finish line, and you can go through there and recover up some HP. And obviously you'll go slower than normal, so it's like a futuristic pit stop essentially. Now this, Zones. Zones is a game mode which I've barely ever played, and I thought I'd play it just for the sake of this video, just to show you what it's like. Okay, so that was Zone 1, right at the start of the level. And Zones is, you play the same track over and over again. And this is literally the first track in the game. It's Florian Heights, level 1. And what I mean by that is it kind of, level 1 is like the smaller version, but it also opens up different versions of the track later on, so yeah, you get to stage 18 and it just gets ridiculous. Like, I had no idea what I was doing here. If you want, I can link you a video in the description where a guy gets to like level, I forget, something ridiculous, but if you want to check that out, then definitely do, because it's pretty awesome. But I hope you all enjoyed the video, and with that being said, I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.